Geno, welcome back. Appreciate your time. I'm wondering if you could describe what your initial reaction was when you found that the Jets had a serious interest in bringing you back.
Yeah, I mean, initially I was, first of all, I was just honored, really, for Coach Glenn, and everyone over there to even consider me. Obviously there's history, being drafted by the Jets. But the first initial thought was just, man, what an honor, to be considered, to be the quarterback of the Jets again and, to walk back into that building. And, I had to obviously think about it and, try and weigh my options and see, what was the best move, best decision, not only for myself, but for, the Jets organization. And, we decided that it was something that we wanted to explore. And I'm just happy it got done, man. I'm super excited. And as the days have gone by, really since the trade, I've just been more and more excited.
What's the feeling been like when you've been in Florham Park, when you've been in the building? What has that been like being back there?
Oh, man, it was so special. It really felt like just, all those memories just kind of rushed back into my head. Just the first time I walked into that building and, really it looked so much the same. And, it just felt like I was back where I belonged, man. It felt special. It really did. Going into the locker room, they made some changes to the locker room, really cool changes, all digital stuff. That's pretty cool. But just, walking down the hallway and, back in the, walking past some of the meeting rooms that I, once was in and, getting a chance to see some familiar faces. Those are the things that really, I really thought about when I walked into that building. And, it was just a special moment for me. And, I can't wait for my family to get there and see it all. And then we can, kind of share those memories together.
Geno, it's obviously been about 10 years, but how different are you as a person and a player since you left the building almost 10 years ago?
Yes, sir. I think I'm a lot different. I think, as we all know, man, sometimes experience, most of the time, experience is going to be your best professor. And I've had a ton of experience since, my last pass for the Jets and my last time I walked out of that building. And I've been to a few teams, been around some great coaches, some great players. I've been on some great teams. I've been able to lead some great teams. And, I really feel like just everything that I've, endured throughout the course of my career, as well as all the things that I've learned, has really shaped me and it's helped me grow mentally, emotionally, physically, as well as, just cerebrally as a quarterback. And I think that's what you want out of this game. You want to continue to learn and continue to get better and try and get better as you go and continue to grow. And so hopefully, I can continue to learn from the guys, in Florham Park and, just continue to be a sponge, man. I was talking to Coach Reich and just eager to, be coached by him and just learn from him and be a sponge and soak up as much as I can and just run his offense, man. I think it's going to be special.
Geno, when you left the Jets and you like you mentioned the last time you walked out of the building, that last time, could you have imagined that you would be someday, almost 10 years later, walking back into that building after, this journey that you've had?
I don't think anyone could have imagined that, honestly. But that's the beauty of life itself, is that, you rarely, I make plans all the time, and rarely do they go exactly as I planned them. And the great part about me being back is that, initially when I was drafted there, my goal was to play my entire career for the Jets and one day retire as a Jet. And, just to come back now, to have an opportunity to, continue to play this game that I love so much and to be a part of that organization, again, the organization that, gave me a chance coming out of West Virginia and, really believed in me. And although it didn't go exactly as planned, somehow, some way we got back here. And I'm eager to, kind of make things right if I can.
Geno, how do you feel about getting to play for these Jets fans again? I know when you were younger, obviously it was a lot different back then, and you were a high draft pick, and they had a lot of like high expectations and all that stuff, and maybe it didn't work out for both parties. But like, how do you feel about going back to playing in front of this crowd again and getting your shot with this fan base?
Yeah, I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to really just get back into the building and just first of all, embracing my teammates, and then together us, embracing the fan base and the community and getting active in the community and really just going out there and, meeting as many people as I can, trying to help as many people as I can with my foundation. But also, the thing about fans is you got to go out there and you got to win and you got to play well. That's just the reality of this game. And, that's what we want to do. We want to go out there and give our fans something to be proud of, put a great product out there on the field, be competitive, not just competitive, but win a lot of games. And also, put ourselves in position to, hoist that Lombardi at the end of the season. I think that's what we all play for as competitors. And I know our fan base, has been longing for that. And so, if I can be the guy to get that done, that's what I want to do. That's the reason we play this game. And ultimately, that's the reason fans come to the game, is to see their team, the team that they love, their hometown, or, maybe a team that they fell in love with as kids, to see that team win and to dominate. And so we want to make sure they're proud.
Geno, obviously last year it didn't go great for you or the Raiders. How confident are you in being able to get back to the guy a couple of years ago who was throwing for 4,000 yards a year?
I'm extremely confident, but not arrogant. I know there's a lot of hard work that needs to be done. I'm a lot better than I was those years. Statistics will always be, a funny thing, man. But, the reality is that, like I said, the experiences that I've gained, even in last season, has made me a better quarterback. And I learned a lot and seen a lot. And, I'm pushing myself every single day in training to be a better player. And I believe that I still have room to grow. I believe I still have, a ton of years left on my body to play this game. And I want to continue to try and maximize it. And so I believe the Jets are getting a better player than I was in Seattle. I know that for a fact. In fact, and so I just want to go out there and exhibit that and be that player on a daily basis and be consistent and just put our team in the best position to win games.
Geno, obviously this is a return for you, but do you see this kind of storyline for you as sort of like a redemption story, like from your personal standpoint?
Personally, I don't really get caught up in storylines, man. I have a life to live. I'll let you guys write the stories. You guys are a lot better at it than I am. So I focus on getting better as a player, being a great teammate, being coachable, being a man of the community. I want to be more active in the community. And also, being the leader and the quarterback that, everyone can be proud of. That's really what I focus on, just trying to get better every single day, be a consistent, voice in the locker room, be a consistent, producer on that field, and let you guys handle all the stories.
The other day when you talked to Josina, you said you had a chip on your shoulder. Just wondering if you could describe that feeling and what's leading to that chip.
I've always had one on my shoulder. I don't think it's, ever going to change as long as I'm living. I think that's just my nature as a competitor. I love to compete. And also I love when, it's probably crazy, but I love when things are kind of at its toughest. That's when I think I shine the brightest because, I know that when my back's against the wall, I do what it takes to get it done. And I love a challenge. I really do. And that's what I'm about, the competition aspect of it and the challenge of being, a professional quarterback. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes a ton of work, takes a ton of dedication and detail. And I understand that. And so I want to make sure that I do that on a daily basis.
Geno, is there something a little special that you and Demario are coming back at the same time to try and get the Jets back on track, considering you guys were teammates like a decade ago?
Oh yeah, Demario, you guys know, man, he's a special guy, tremendous leader, not just for the Saints all those years, but for the NFL. He's been, a model of what an elite, top tier linebacker is supposed to be in terms of not only his production, but the way that he, carries himself off the field. And so, he and I have been texting back and forth. We're both excited. I can't wait to see him and his family. I remember when we were back with the Jets, Demario and I would do Bible study. I would go to his house and, I think that's when he had his first child. And, we would do Bible study, once a week. And we became really good friends. And then obviously we, separated along our way. But, I would always see him around and see him at the Pro Bowl. We had a tremendous talk at the Pro Bowl that, we both will never forget. And it's just, again, man, it's kind of how life works, man. We're back with the Jets, and we got a great opportunity. And I look forward to, playing alongside Demario again, as well as the other guys. And I also look forward to just continuing to build our bond and our friendship.
Geno,
What do you think about
taking
playing in
this
a Frank
opportunity?
Reich offense?
I'll answer. Coach Reich and I, we had a brief conversation, and really, I've heard so many great things about him. Obviously, I know about him as a player, and all the things he's done. Was a tremendous quarterback, and so that's always a great thing. A guy who's played the game and understands that he sees it the way that you see it, and also just his track record with coaching quarterbacks and coaching offenses and having great offenses, great running games, great passing games. He's done it all, man, and he's highly respected. Every coach that I've talked to, they all respect him and they speak highly of him, and just say how great of a coordinator he is. And so I can't wait to establish myself within the offense and really learn from him and how he wants things to be executed, the way he wants things to be done, and really go out there and get it done.
We'll take a couple more here.
Geno, I'm not sure. Hello, Geno.
Yes.
Hello. All right.
Yes.
I'm not sure how much you've immersed yourself into the roster, but as far as the offense goes, what are your thoughts on the parts there, the skill positions, the offensive line, et cetera, and just getting this opportunity to lead them?
Yeah, great question. Really, when I look at this offense, man, it always starts up front. And I think, just again, I haven't really fully immersed myself into it, but from the knowledge that I have, I believe the offensive line, especially, the young guys, played really well last year. And hopefully those guys will continue that. I'll get into the building, get to meet those guys, and we'll all push ourselves and, really try to get this thing, going so that we can be a really good offense. But it starts up front, and from what I'm told and the things that I've seen, there's really, really good guys up front. We just signed Dylan Parham, who I was with in Las Vegas last year, who, again, he's a guy who's played a ton of football. He's tough as heck, and he's an anchor in there at guard. He's smart, well-spoken, kind of soft-spoken guy. You guys will get to know him, but he's a really, really good player, and he's a really tough guy. And I think last year, some things happened that, was tough on all of us, but I think he'll be able to showcase what he can do. When I look at the skill players, you talk about Garrett Wilson, a true number one, a top 10 receiver in this league. Everyone knows about what he can do. It's my job to continue to get him the football and get him involved early, make sure that he gets the touches that he needs. On the opposite side, I believe, they just traded for A.D. Mitchell, and I watched him a lot in college. Saw some of the things he did with the Colts, and then last year I thought he, when he got to the Jets, I thought he made a few really good plays, and only looking forward to him expanding that and getting better as a player, and hopefully I can help him as well. Mason Taylor at tight end, coming out of LSU, we know his pedigree, with his father and just his background, but super talented, super tough player. I think he can do it all: block, catch, run. He can do all the great things, and he's another guy, got to get him involved as well. But Breece Hall's another guy. Braylon, all those guys on the offense, they got a lot of young talent and, a really special group of guys, in my opinion, that can really, kind of take over this league.